Hello and welcome to Turn the Page. My name is Andrea Berstler. I'm the Executive Director for Wicomico Public Libraries. We're glad that you've joined us today to learn about the resources, the programs, and the services of your public library system. My first guest today is Scott Mailer. Scott is the Adult Services Manager for the Downtown Library, and he's going to talk to us a little about how you can visit the library without visiting the library.
Remote access.
Remote access, absolutely. Welcome, Scott.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
So it's the holiday season. Everybody's busy.
Fast approaching. Can't
Everybody's
believe it.
hectic. Everybody's running around.
Yeah.
And, you know, people are coming to visit. You've got drop-in company for the evening. Don't have time to run to the library, but I need to pick up movies. I need to pick up books. I'd like to listen to an audiobook while I'm driving the 14 hours to visit somebody else for the holidays.
Sure.
Talk to us a little about how I can do that, or how anyone can do that, without having to get in the car and drive to a library.
Sure. So we have a great service, Hoopla, which is brought to us by our wonderful friends at the Eastern Shore Regional Library. And it's a streaming movie, music, ebooks, audiobooks, comic book service that they subscribe to us for us.
Mm-hmm.
So don't have to go into the library. All you need is a library card. They will do, you have an email address and also a password, and that's all you need. And you can get movies, streaming, large selection of movies, TV shows, all for free. Also large music catalog, like I said, ebooks, audiobooks. So if you're doing that car ride, you can download it to your phone and you'll have it for your drive. It's really a wonderful service.
Great.
So it's a lot like Netflix,
Okay.
but it operates and it's as easy to use as iTunes. I tell people it's so simple, even I can use it. Say that all the time when people come to the reference desk. I said this is really it's very user-friendly.
So you don't always have to have a Wi-Fi or internet access to be able to use these things. You can download them onto your device.
You can download them onto your device,
all right.
but the best way is probably to stream it.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
And it's 3 days for the movies, and then it'll just disappear. 7 days for the music, and then 21 days for the comic books, ebooks, audiobooks.
Great, great. So there's no overdue fines. I don't
No
have to worry
overdue
about
fine.
returning this thing to
Sure
the
do not.
library. That's
No.
one. So if I'm having a holiday party and I don't want to buy all this Christmas music, I can
Right.
go online, I can download it,
Absolutely.
make up my own little playlist for the season.
Yep.
That's wonderful
Yep.
to know.
And you get 8 checkouts per month. That's approximately 2 per week.
Okay.
So we'd like it to be more, but for right now it's 2 per week, which works out good. And the people that use it love it.
That's great.
It's great. I use it even at work. I'll just go on, have music. So I'm in the back, I'm working, have the music streaming. It's wonderful. It's extensive music catalog.
Now, how is this different from if I go to the library and let's say I want to borrow a movie and I have to wait in line? Do I have to wait in line for anything
Nope.
in Hoopla?
No, everything is just right there, so you can stream it. Right,
Okay,
right
so anytime I want it.
You don't need to be
on demand.
On demand. You don't need. There's no wait, hold queue, nothing like that.
That's wonderful.
You can just do it. Yeah, it's
The
a wonderful,
library at your fingertips.
It's a wonderful, wonderful service.
And this is not the only on-demand service that the library actually offers, or the
No.
only online service that we offer.
Certainly not the only online service. that we
So
offer.
where else can I get books from the library online?
So we have a system called Overdrive, which is our ebooks, audiobook database that the state subscribes to. And now there is a hold queue, unfortunately, for that, but has all the popular titles. So
And how many titles
James
are we
Patterson.
talking here? Hundreds? 200s?
I think it's in the thousands.
Yeah.
So thousands of titles. It has a lot of the only downside is it has a lot of the popular titles, which is great. The downside is there's only so many copies that are out at one time. So there is a hold.
Right. So if you
list,
find it
but-
on Hoopla, you can get it right away.
Right.
If you find it
But
on
on
Overdrive, you
Overdrive-
may have to wait a bit.
Right. So it's going to have that James Patterson. You just may have to wait a little bit
Okay.
for it. But it has ebooks and audiobooks too.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
The library's been adding to its resources. I know we talk a lot about that
Yes.
in-house.
Yes.
The fact that the online library needs to be as big as possible.
Right.
Because a lot of people only find us there.
Right. So we also have Zinio, which is another. It's basically Overdrive, but for magazines.
Oh,
so that's
okay.
another service that we offer. So you don't have to come into the library to look at magazines. You can just look, on remotely from your
So if
device.
I'm looking for a decorating magazine or a cooking magazine or a
Yep.
parenting magazine, they would all be on there.
Yep. All on Zoom.
Even if I
all
want to
for
read them
free.
at 10:30 at night.
Even if you want to read it at 2 o'clock in the morning, which, I'm sure some people do.
Some people would want to.
But yes, so you can do that. You can access it, a large collection of all kinds. So there's sports and cooking, like you said, and decorating, all kinds of different
That's so
genres.
great.
Yeah, and of course all for free. That's what people don't realize.
So we've talked about books, we've talked about movies and music. What else does a library offer online? Some things we offer online that we don't even offer in person. You can actually get some things online that we don't have
Right. So
in the
like
physical library.
So like Gale Courses is another new service that our regional library pays for. It's taking classes right online. Again, like if you want to bone up on Excel, you can do that. Lots of computer classes.
So is this like the tutorials I can get on YouTube where I just go online, or is it really
more
a class?
It's really a class.
Okay.
It's an extent. This is with instructors, vetted instructors. So it's a 6-week course, so it's a little bit of a commitment, but they're free. There's other places that you have to pay for these same exact classes. And there's stuff like personal enrichment, like photography. So you're thinking about, you got a camera for Christmas, and you want to take hey, I need to take a class on how to use it and take better pictures. There's photography.
Wow.
So,
And
yeah.
there's also ones, I believe, in there about starting your own business.
Starting your own
and
business, entrepreneurial
art
stuff.
classes. And
Art. And they seem to be adding classes all the time. So
That's wonderful.
It's really amazing. And again, it's free.
So if I want to get on Hoopla, or I want to take one of these great courses from Gale, or I want to borrow an ebook from Overdrive, what is it I need?
A library. Make sure you have your library card. Unfortunately, you have to physically come into the library to get the library card, but that's really all you need.
Okay.
And a lot of them will require you set up an email and password type of combination so that you can actually get in.
So if I have a library card and I'm having some trouble getting into these, what do I need to do?
You can call the
Okay.
Wicomico Public Library, 410-749-3612. Extension 127 will get you to the reference desk. And, we can usually answer your question. If we can't, we'll go further and definitely
Okay,
be called back.
because sometimes the cards do expire, I know. And
Sometimes
a lot of
they-
times
yeah.
people run into that. It's been a while, and,
Right, yeah, that
So-
just needs to be updated.
Yeah.
So, we can do it. We can do all
Wonderful,
that.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for joining us, Scott, and telling us all of
Absolutely.
this great ways we can visit the
Absolutely.
library without
Remotely.
visiting the library.
Right. Not that we don't want to see you come in, because we do. But
Very good. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Stay with us. We have some announcements for you, and then we'll have our next guest. Welcome back to Turn the Page. Our next guest is Barb Graham. Barb is the manager of the Children's and Youth Services for the Downtown Library. Welcome, Barb.
Thank you.
Wanted to talk a little about the holiday story times that you have. It's a very special program. It runs once a year. And tell us a little about what people can expect when they show up for holiday story time.
That story time actually runs on Wednesday, December 21st at 10:30. It's for all ages, birth to 5, and it takes place in our children's program room. And what we do is we clear the area, and when the kids come in, we have them leave their shoes in our program room and then come out to the main area of the library. And we do a big story time with lots of songs, finger plays, of course a story, because after all we're a library, lots of interaction, lots of singing, a little bit of dancing, and then we go back into the program room and library elves have put treats in their shoes and a book under their shoes as a very special
how delightful.
prize.
How delightful. Now I know this comes from a particular country's practice of putting holiday treats in children's shoes.
Right, it's actually kind of a takeoff of Saint Nick. I think he was Greek. Many centuries ago, but it's a way for us to get the kids involved in the story time. And the biggest treat at the end is a book, because that's the best gift you can give your child, is the gift of reading, and that's what we want to stress to the parents and the caregivers.
Absolutely, and of course the book can all year long. You know, they eat the candy and the treats and it's gone, but the book lasts for all year.
Right.
And we really want to thank our library elves for their help with this particular program. Our friends of the library like to come in and wear the elf costumes.
Right, and they also supply the funding for the books.
Absolutely.
So we appreciate that.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So as a parent who may have a small child at home, why should I make time for story time? I mean, there's so many other things that go on in a child's day, so many options for them to be involved with. Why is story time important? It just sounds like it's a lot of fun and nothing else.
Well, it is a lot of fun because a child's main job is to play. So fun is key, but research has shown that the first 3 years of life are critical for brain development. And that is when all the brain connections are made as far as the neural pathways in the brain to become a reader. So the earlier you start reading to a child, the stronger those pathways are, the better the connections are. The first 3 years of life are critical. And when you think about it, a child is learning how to talk, how to walk, how to play. And reading is all a part of this learning. And it starts, we really stress to the parents, the caregivers, whoever's working with the babies, read to the babies from birth, because those connections are so important. And as the connections are made, the strengthening helps the child to be prepared for kindergarten. So we're totally involved on the children's side of the library in kindergarten readiness. We're working with our Board of Ed. We're working with other agencies in the community to get these little ones ready for kindergarten and to give them a running start, hit the ground running when they start kindergarten.
That's wonderful. And it's really important, I noticed you just mentioned too, about making sure that reading is fun. Reading is not a chore. It's not something you assign your children to do. It needs to be part of their everyday play.
Right. Well, as you know, in the library, you can find a book on mice, rabbits, robots, applesauce. Anything you want to find a children's book on, we can find it. And they are delightful and they are fun. I suggest to parents to put books in with their toys so that the children know that the book is something fun. And pretty soon they'll be crawling into your lap and asking you to tell them what's in this story. That's all part of print recognition, understanding how a book works. But we want it to be fun and engaging and enjoyable. So, yeah, we've got any book you want to find on any topic, we should be able to help you find that.
That's great. That is so wonderful. And it's great that it's part of the fun, and it's great that, but I know that there are parents who sort of raise an eyebrow and go, really? You want me to read to my 2-month-old child? That really cannot have an impact. And what you're saying is it does.
Absolutely, absolutely. There's the first part of the whole equation is for the child to feel safe and secure with a caring and loving adult. And reading gives that child that security. But even a child that young can start to track can start to listen, starts to understand how words work. That's all part of it, and that gives them the basis for becoming an excellent reader when it's time to start school.
And this is something that not only the parents need to be involved with. You're saying caregivers, extended family. This is something, so like this special holiday story time would be a great opportunity for, say, a grandparent or an aunt and uncle to bond with their extended family.
Yes, we want everybody to come. Like I said, we clear the floor. We make as much space as we can. We can go from library to stage in about 10 minutes. We do it often. It's a great time for bonding. It's a great time for seeing all the fun things at the library. We have educational toys. We have a Lego table. We have a coloring table. We have iPads for children to use. I know there's some concern about technology, but we are all becoming more and more technologically advanced. But when you think about it, you have to know how to read to use the technology.
This is very true. This is very true. And so this would be, since it's so late in December, you said it's the 21st of December, this would be a great opportunity for, say, an extended family member to build a tradition when the nieces and nephews or the grandkids come into town and take them to the library and have that special time with people they may not get to see normally.
Yes, and it's fun, and there's actually going to be a visit with Mr. Santa Claus and Mrs. Santa Claus. The Clauses will be there. So after the program, the kids can sit on Santa's lap and have a picture or tell Santa what they want for Christmas. And of course, they'll walk home with that very special book.
And we all know Santa loves to read.
Oh,
so.
Absolutely.
That's wonderful.
Absolutely.
So very quickly, because we're running short on time, what other things are going on in the Children's Department, the Youth Services Department at the holiday season especially?
We regularly on Thursday afternoons have Lego program for kids basically ages 5 to 12. They can come in and build with Legos. They can play Lego Wii games. That's every Thursday and every other Saturday. Every other Tuesday night, you can come read to the dogs. Real dogs, yes, real dogs come to the library, and the children can improve their reading skills because the dogs, they're not judgmental. They just sit and listen and want to be petted.
And they love the attention.
And they love the attention. And the
It's
children
great.
love to read to them. So we've got programs going on like that.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's the Pause to Read program.
Right.
Wonderful.
Right.
Thank you very much, Barb Graham, for joining us today on
Sure.
Turn the Page. And pay attention to these announcements, and we'll be back in just a minute. welcome back to Turn the Page. My last guest today is Linda Timbrell. Linda is in charge of the Job Search Center in the Downtown Library. Welcome and thank you for joining us, Linda.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
So, a lot of people don't even know that we have a Job Search Center downtown.
True.
So talk a little about what the Job Search Center does. What is it, if people walk through your door, what is it that they can do in your little center?
The Job Search Center is, just as an aside, a small area located in the library, specially designed for people searching. We have 7 laptops, and they can come into our space and create resumes. They can create cover letters. We help them a lot of times on a one-to-one basis fill out applications, which these days are always online. We help them talk with them about and help them determine skills that they could list on their resume that might not necessarily have come from employment, but come from just life history and what they do in their own space. So we also can sit with people. We've sat with people in many occasions, just going through it question by question on applications to give them an idea of how it works. So that's kind of the general idea of what we do. We have 2 websites that they can use to search for jobs. One is an offshoot of the Maryland Workforce Exchange, the One Stop Job Center. The other one is a site that they can access maybe 120 local employers that are hiring. And we also have a bulletin board onto which we post weekly, sometimes more frequently, jobs that these 70 to 120 employers are advertising.
Wow.
So that's a quick run through it.
That sounds like a busy place.
It's a very busy place. We on an average, I would say we serve 250 to 300 people every month, which is a fairly large number. We've been increasing as time goes by. People are getting to know about us a little bit. We try to track interviews and hires. Hires is very difficult because once people get a job, we usually don't see them again. But I would say on an average, people reporting, we're doing between 3 and 5 or more hires a week.
Wow, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Now, the reason for the Job Search Center, beyond the fact that people need to find jobs, is because that the job industry, the job search process, is very different than it was 15 years ago. Talk a little about some of the things that people have run into difficulties with in the job search. I know that the application process can be really, troublesome and that sort of thing.
It's for a lot of people that aren't completely familiar with the technical age, they don't realize that these days applications are all done online. And they're sort of used to doing paper applications. That almost doesn't exist anymore. The other thing that they don't realize, and we're helping everybody come to this realization, is that when they make an application, they won't get phone calls usually. They'll just get a notice through their email. And we have spent a lot of time helping a lot of people set up email accounts, which if they're not used to doing that, it's kind of a whole new ballgame. So that's been really important as far as them not waiting for a letter or a phone call.
No, that doesn't happen anymore.
No, it doesn't.
And of course, then the whole interview process has changed as well. So if they want to, say, pick your brain about what they should maybe wear or what kind of questions they might expect, you're willing to work with them on that as well.
Absolutely, we are. When we have a lot of handouts in the Job Search Center as far as questions you might expect in an interview, questions that shouldn't really be asked in an interview and that you don't really have to answer. We talk about attitude. We talk about the way to dress for an interview and anything related. We talk about how to set an objective, which a lot of applications and resumes need for the employer to figure out where your head is. So we work on all of that.
Wow, it's very wide-ranging, the things you have to talk
It keeps
about.
us busy.
I bet it does.
Yep.
Now, the Job Search Center is in the downtown library. The hours are what?
The hours are Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday from 10 to 2. Tuesday we're open from 2 to 8. Thursday we're open from 10 till 8.
10 till 8, and
So-
no hours on Sunday.
No hours on
No hours on
Sunday. It's the only day.
Now, if I have a job, but I want to get a better job, can I still come in and visit you there?
Absolutely, you can get a better job. We have people who don't have jobs that need a job. We have people who need a second job. A lot of people need a second job these days to get by. And we have people that are looking for a better job. I mean, absolutely, anything.
Okay. And does anyone need an appointment to come to the Job Search Center?
You don't need a single appointment. You absolutely don't. Advantages of the Job Search Center are they have no time constraints, where sometimes in the adult section there's only a certain amount of time. They can search for jobs for as long as the Job Search Center is open. They can send applications by fax, and we don't charge them to fax. They can print their resumes. We don't charge them to print. So,
That's wonderful.
yeah.
Now, I know that a lot of this is provided by a grant from Lower Shore Workforce Alliance, and they also supply training for you as well, for you and your assistant. Is that correct?
yes,
yeah,
we do.
okay,
We
okay.
definitely provide.
So we want to make
training
sure we
for
give
us.
them a thank you for that, because
for sure. Absolutely.
making
Yeah,
this
absolutely.
making this available to the downtown community is
Oh,
important.
it makes a huge difference. Every community needs job search help in this market, but our community, I think, is, we have a large group of people that really need help getting jobs, and I think it's critical.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us today,
Oh, you're
Linda.
welcome. Thank you.
And thank you for joining us here on Turn the Page. If you have any questions or want additional information on any of the segments you've seen today, you can stop by the library website, wicomicolibrary.org, or call us at 410-749-3612. Thank you for joining us here on PAC 14.
I did 15 years in the United States Navy. After I retired from the military, I relocated to Maryland, and it was about being someplace that I could afford to live off my retirement. I did not have internet at home because that was like a luxury I couldn't afford. So that's why we would come to the library. I would come in, I'd have to sit in these real tiny chairs in the children's section to look for work while my grandbaby played. And one of the ladies that worked here, she saw that I was looking for jobs. And she said, well, are you aware that we have a job search center? And I was like, no, I didn't know that.
Hi, welcome. Come on in. Just have a seat there. We'll get
Being
started.
able to come to the job search center and just focus on just that, looking for work, was a great help. The Veterans Affairs lady who I started working with, she let me know about a job opening for Homeland Security. And she said to me, Linda, I think you'd be perfect for this job. So I took that job announcement, I came over to the library, went into the job search center where I started applying for the job. I received the offer letter that said, congratulations, you will be starting with the Department of Homeland Security, U.S. Immigrations and Customs Enforcement. All my prayers had been answered. I'm finding that one of my greatest joys is waking up now every morning and heading to work. I think I'm smiling every day and just knowing that I'm going to a job that I enjoy. I'm working around great people, and it's no better feeling.